What's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P Entertainment and K.L.P Studios. It's K.L.P Aftermath Morning with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas and Rocco Styles.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go.
Mike, what time is it, man? What time is it?
It's swanky time with that new KLP.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is swanky time.
I hit him with.
As I hit the wrong button. It's all right. Hey, be your favorite. Come on.
A whole lot of chicks in the living room getting it on, and they ain't leaving till 6 in the morning. I've been trying to tell them leave me alone. They been twerking, it ain't working. I've been curving cause I'm focused on you. I'm trying to get you back to the telly. Trying to be a man if you let me. Baby girl, you so thick and you look so
This beat is dope.
Ooh, you want this beat, right?
Body, yaddy, yaddy. Body, yaddy, yaddy. Hey.
You looking dangerous. I want you anytime beyond. We could be making crazy love. Whole world gonna be hating us. Cause I'm feeling on your
Body, yaddy, yaddy. Hey.
Cause I'm feeling on your body, yaddy, yaddy. Oh, with you, wally, wally,
Let me go and get it started.
Shout out to all my Atlanta people out there.
Everything I do, it got gold on it. I just ate a $300 hamburger.
Hey.
The game over. At the shooting range, break a rain, cost a Range Rover. Do my thing for the booty tain and the suit. Imagine Superman grabbing Lois Lane on the booty.
Hey.
From the jump, don't jump to conclusion. If you want a tan, put some sand on your booty. Used to have a tad of a man on the booty till I covered it up with my hand
Let
on
me
the
fill
booty.
up on your
Body,
body,
yaddy, yaddy. Hey.
your body, yaddy, yaddy. Let me fill up on your body, yaddy, yaddy. Oh, you looking dangerous.
We're going to get started in a minute, y'all. Welcome, KLP Aftermath. We back with another episode. Shout out to all my people out there in Atlanta. Shout out to all the podcasters out there, all the content creators. Shout out to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Shout out to my girl, Ebony Liggins, with her new show, new podcast, well, current podcast, new episode.
I really wanna give it to you.
Shout out to iHeartRadio. If y'all haven't seen it, heard it, KLP in the morning from iHeartRadio over there. Keep me poppy. Hey. Come on. Whiny, whiny, whiny. Hey. Crazy love.
This beat is dope.
Ooh, you want this beat, right?
Body, yaddy, yaddy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we back for another exciting podcast here today. Welcome back to the KLP Aftermath Podcast. I'm your gracious and highly favored and blessful and grateful podcast host, KLP Kennedy Lucas. Yeah, so welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the podcast, KLP Aftermath, back in front of the screen, back in front of the camera. Shout out to Cannon. Make sure that we look good, looking real good. Lighting in here is pretty good too. So can't wait to see what it looks like in post. You know, one thing I get nervous about when I get ready to do not only podcasting, but to really, when I get ready to do post, I get kind of nervous, right? I get nervous because I don't know how the end goal is going to look on the podcast until you load it up into the computer and you start editing, and then you might miss something. So we look pretty good. So I'm pretty confident with it. We got pretty good lighting in here too. So welcome to the podcast, guys. This is the K.L.P Aftermath podcast. Again, like I mentioned, I'm your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas. Welcome back to, just our shows, right? Rather it's K.L.P Aftermath today. And then if you've been watching or you've been listening over there at ourheartradio.com, K.L.P in the morning, that is our morning radio show that we do audio only. But I get very, very excited for that one because, the number one is it's less work, right? Well, and I don't want to say that in a mean way, but it's less setting up time, right? It's a lot of less setting up time when it comes down to it because, it's a lot of setups when it comes to this type of show with the microphone, the studio, the equipment, the lighting, the cameras. It's a lot that goes on into giving you guys a show and performing a great show for y'all. So I get very, very geeked. I get very, very excited when it comes down to it. So humbled and blessed for just not only just this show, but all the other shows we got going on. Shout out to Spectrum Podcast. Guys, Spectrum Podcast is a new, current show. I can't say it's new because we've been doing it for a while, but it's a show that we've been doing. And I've been kind of producing the thing. I've been kind of sitting in the back seat of that one and having, my talent say what they want to say what they need to say on the show. And it becomes a great big show. And a lot of people come on the show and they just talk, right? They give us the news. They talk about what they feel, what they reviewed, what they're writing about. So I get very, very humbled. I get very, very excited. And it's just one of those things I get excited about. So again, shout out to everybody, all the podcasters out there. I think this is a shout out to every podcaster that's still rolling this thing, right? They're still rolling this thing out and still doing this thing called podcasting. So I got to always give my shout outs for that for sure. Now, just a quick little update, if you will, guys. We've got some new merchandise. Launched yesterday. By the time you're seeing this podcast, it was launched yesterday. The Swanky product number 1. That is our Swanky tote bag. Now, it's a book bag, red and black. So excited for that over there from aliveshoes.com. Our sponsors for that, and making sure that we give you guys not only just, content and stuff, right? But this is a great accessory. I'm excited about this project because this is something that finally we started to do merchandising. We started to do accessories, and I knew the first thing I wanted to do, because a lot of people in the studio, they ask, okay, we've got this thing. What is going to be your first product? It's going to be a book bag, right? So I love the style of this bag. I love the color. I'm very, very proud of this vision. So I do hope that everyone, if you are interested, we're going to have the link in the description below. Get your order in now, because it's one of these type of projects where I need to have at least 7 pre-orders before production can start, right? It costs us money for production to start. I can't spend a whole lot of money if, for an example, one person buys the bag. I can't spend the money on producing one bag for one person. But if I get up to 7 orders in, production can start. Coming from Italy, by the way. Good quality when you come from a different country. Coming from Italy. So again, on the link description below, click the link, purchase one of the bags. If you have a group of 7 people that buys it, production starts for you. Shipping is free, by the way. I wanted to get that out there. Shipping is free. You're not paying a dime when it comes down to shipping for this awesome bag to come from Italy. Good quality, guaranteed good quality. Very, very nice colors. If you're wrapping the red, black, and white with a hint of gold, it's just exciting. Shipping comes free for you guys. Just pre-order so that way production can start. I'm very, very excited for this project. There's going to be many more swanky accessories that's coming, but I know we did shoes, right? We did shoes, and we did okay with shoes, right? Now I'm starting to steer away from the shoe gang and trying to advocate more with product being this bag. So more to come from Swanky Accessories, by the way. But this is the first thing, and I'm very, very stoked about it. So comment below. Yes, it is out there. Now, this is a podcast to where sometimes I like to get personal. I don't like to get super duper personal. But I have been asking, a lot of people have been asking me, my recent update. I know a lot of people understand that, I no longer work in institution. And I wanted to talk about that, right? It always feels good to talk about things when you're over certain things and you became more happy about some things. And, I'm always transparent on the shows. Some things I keep to myself for sure, but some things that I feel gracious to share about because, when I look back 10 years from now, 30 years, 20 years, 30 years from now, and listen to this specific podcast, I know I came a long way. But yeah, I don't think I ever told people about me leaving out for institution, but yes, I've worked in higher education for, I want to say now 3 years, and it's been extraordinary. It's been one of those things that I've enjoyed a lot because working in higher education along with K.L.P Entertainment has been impactful. I learned a lot of good stuff, right? It's one of those things that I have learned some stuff. I learned some lessons. I've learned some things about how higher education works. I learned some things about higher education when it comes to HR and how those things work. And I also say to a lot of people, because a lot of my friends, a lot of people have thought about quitting higher education, have thought about leaving that field entirely. I don't want to say that, education's for everybody. I can't say that, right? There's been a lot of successful people in this world that way. They've worked in higher education or they pursued higher education and they say, screw it, this is not for me, I'm out, right? I have no quarrel with people. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt when that happens because I understand, again, education is not for everybody. It's not. I think working in higher education is not for everybody. It's not. So the first higher education school I worked at was at Emory University here in Atlanta. And that job was extraordinary. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of student personalities. I learned a lot of work personalities. That job, I didn't resign, I did, but I didn't quit, right? I left that and I pursued something else at Georgia State, right? If you follow me on my LinkedIn, you know the title. If you've followed me on Facebook, you know the type of work that I dabbled into. I enjoyed that job, right? I think when you enjoy a job so much, you give your passion to a job, sometimes it's going to come with some negative effect. Again, it's not to spook anybody who works in higher education, but it is true, right? This is my truth that a lot of people have different personalities. A lot of people have their own way of things. And I think when it comes to higher education, you can't have your own opinion with stuff when you're working with a team. You just can't. You have to hear everybody out. Everybody has a different way of doing stuff, right? So that's what ended up happening, at Georgia State and causing me to leave and pursue another career path because there's been, quite a few personalities that didn't gel well with mine. I'm very talkative. I'm very, very joyous. I enjoy speaking to people, right? I enjoy helping people. I enjoy helping people whenever they need it because that's just one thing that I do. And I say to a lot of people out there, especially for my Taurus bulls, because that's my zodiac sign. I'm a Taurus. So we do these things where we're very sensitive. We care a lot. We're very business oriented, but we have a sensitivity side of us. It's true. To all my Taurus people, don't let that go, right? Because that is a unique trait to have. Right? It's so special to have something like that, to have that uniqueness when it comes down to helping people, caring for people, and giving people the benefit of the doubt. But the one thing that really makes me sad, not really, I mean, I'm okay now, but it makes me sad when you're working at higher education and people don't see your value. People don't see what you can really do. People don't appreciate what you can do, your hard work that you put in, causing you to affect your mind. And I wanted to talk about this on this podcast because, last week, the last few weeks before these last 2 weeks, I haven't been giving you guys content because my mental health was affected heavily. I always encourage people when it comes down to your mental health, take care of that. take care of your mental health. You never know how impactful your mental health can be when you don't take care of it, you don't do the right things, and you don't get out of a toxic, would you say, workspace, because that's where it was. It led to a toxic workspace, right? Causing me to not have great health, mental health, and physical health, right? I was, not eating as much, right? I was losing sleep, right? I was anxious. I was tired. And it was never good. It was never good for me to be in that space and to experience those things. It was never a good thing for me to do. And I hate that I had to go and sink down that low. I really did. And I do say to a lot of people, number one, always have another job lined up before you quit one. That's giving. But always forget the people. Don't never forget the people that helped you, your networking, and take care of your mental health, right? That's what causes me to, leave higher education because of all these things. And, I'm pursuing my career back in hospitality, and I've been enjoying it. The last few days, me doing it, I've been enjoying it because I know I'm helping people. I'm servicing people. I'm giving them a great time. And then when I get to go home, I'm done, right? If there's not a day that I'm not here in the studio giving you guys a podcast or doing my thing, I'm at hospitality and I'm leaving property management and I'm home and I'm rested, I'm having a good time, I'm watching TV, I'm enjoying my best life, right? Because I'm not anxious. I'm not tired. I have the energy, the get up and go to do what I need to do, right? So I always encourage that for people. I encourage people to take care of your mental health. I encourage people to continue to be at the job where you're happy, right? Be at the job where you can really feel your full energy and your full potential. Yeah, and that's just the one thing that I encourage people to do, is just to have that great mental health and to really just care about the mental health. Care about what you got going on, and just never forget your flow. I think a lot of people, we tend to forget our flow, right? We forget a lot of things. We forget what we're there to do, and we're there to serve. So I always encourage that. I did want to open up about what happened, when it comes down to that. You're dealing with people who just don't, people really who are mean, right? And when they're mean, they don't really have a heart. They don't really understand, because they just have so much hate in their heart. And it's not for me to cry on this podcast and to, call them out and cry them out. But, I always turn it in as I'm going to pray for you, right? I'm going to pray for you because you need help. I'm going to pray for you because you need forgiveness. I'm going to pray for you because you need guidance, right? And not to get gospel, but that's just scripture, right? You hurt me, that's cool. I'm going to forgive you, but I'll never forget, right? Karma is something, what goes around comes around for sure, but I'm not going to wish evil on you, right? I'm going to wish the very best, and I just hope you seek help. And that goes for quite a few people, right? But it's not to say that the school isn't good. The school is good. A lot of people do attend that school. I've worked there, and now I've got something on my resume, definitely on my LinkedIn. But it's just shameful that it came to this. But now I know, I do know that I'm moving on, and I'm more happy. And then I'm always gonna say that I've got people who have my back. People who have my back, and they understand. They understand. As I'm getting texts right now, one of my friends said, "Hey, just checking in on you. How's your week of work?" People check in on me, so I know I've got supporters. I've got people that look after me, so I know that I'm good. So shout out to all the people out there for sure that's been reaching out to me. I love y'all. I really do. Now let's move on to the news here. iHeartMedia celebrates the best in podcast during the 6th annual iHeart Podcast Awards. Very excited for this one because we have our show, K.L.P in the morning. Well, all our shows really they're on iHeart, but K.L.P in the morning is one of the specials for the podcast segment of iHeart. So it's always good to see iHeart doing some amazing stuff. The 2024 iHeart Podcast Awards presented by the Hartford Live at SX South by Southwest is what it's called. That's kind of the show, the annual show they do every year that promotes new technology and new things that goes on. I've seen a lot of YouTubers go to the event over there in Austin, Texas. So very, very exciting. The most influential names in podcasting to honor the most entertaining, innovative podcasts of 2023. celebrating the incredible talent and wide variety of leaders across the podcast industry, live in person in Austin. I love reading this stuff because I'm a podcaster. So even though I didn't go to this, I do want to shout out Charlemagne the God though, because the Black Effect podcast is coming to Atlanta in April. I gotta see if I can score some tickets to go to that one, because this is not a sponsor, but damn it, let me go ahead and just talk about this one real quick. Not a sponsor whatsoever. If Black Effect want to sponsor our podcast, for sure, but I gotta talk about them because there are so many podcasters here in Atlanta. So many, myself included. So many podcasters, so many talent here in Atlanta. And I gotta see about scoring some tickets for the Black Effect Podcast Festival, because you've got so many black podcasters, not only in Atlanta, around the world, but I'm saying because we're here in Atlanta, right? Studios here in Atlanta. And it's very impactful when it comes down to, Charlemagne the God from The Breakfast Club is hosting this thing for the second time. I do believe it's going to be bigger. No, despite what people say about it, I think this would be a great event to go to if you are a content creator, if you are a podcaster, because you get to meet so many other people. And who knows? If I might meet somebody who's also a podcaster, I might tag team on them and we can create a whole nother new podcast with just talent. So not a sponsor, wish they did. But if you guys are here in Atlanta and you're thinking about coming down for the Black Effect Podcast Festival, I would suggest going, because I might be there, because I'm looking into it, because I didn't go last year because I missed out last year. But this year I feel like I should go. So not a sponsor, but I just, that's one of the things I just have to talk about. And that's why I get very, very excited when I see, iHeart Podcast Awards and all of these talents going to this thing here. Now, they have a lot of podcast shows, and I'm not going to go through the whole entire list of this because there's a lot of winners here for sure. I know Shannon Sharp did win one for his podcast, Club Shay Shay. I gotta say that Cat Williams interview put him over, not in a bad way. Like I'm team Club Shay Shay. I love Shannon Sharp, but I think honestly that Cat Williams interview really helped him grow, and then now he makes the money. Shannon Sharp, and not to harp on Shannon Sharp, but he played it smart. He capitalized on the Cat Williams interview, and then also he bought his own thing, and he's doing his own media, right? He has his own media company now. He's doing his own fresh thing. So I get very, very excited when it comes down to that stuff, because it works, right? It really does work if you have the good talent. And also his podcasting game has been going really, really well. He's learned some things about interviewing questions and whatnot. So it's very good. I'm going through the list here, and some of these podcast shows that now I got to listen to. But I know iHeart got some Innovative Award presented by YouTube. Rotten Mango for the YouTube start of it. The New Heights presented, Podcast of the Year presented by the Hartford Institution. New Heights won that one for Wave Sports, from Wave Sports Entertainment. Best Business and Finance Podcast, How I Built This, won that one for that category. Best Comedy, This Is Important. That's from the iHeart Podcast catalog. Crime Junkie, I heard of Crime Junkie before. I have, for Best Crime Podcast. The Best Food Podcast Award goes to Sporkful, or The Sporkful Podcast. Best Kids and Family, Good Inside, with Dr. Becky, wins that one. Popcast from the New York Times, hosted by Simplecast. Like I said, I'm not going to go through a whole lot of these lists here. I'm going through the Best TV and Film Podcast, How Did I Get This Made? How Did This Get Made? Podcast, presented by Simplecast. Simplecast won a lot too. Megaphone, I know about Megaphone because that's the extension for Anchor. Best Advice and Inspirational. We Can Do Hard Things with Glennon Doyle, right? And that's all they have here that I'm familiar with, some of the podcasts that I'm familiar with. Very, very excited to see that this happened. I get very, very stoked for this. I love it when I see podcast awards and festivals come up because it's like now I can relate because I'm in the industry myself. So I get very, very, very humble when it comes down to it. Now, speaking of staying humble, we got it. We got some news here. We got some news coming out for sure when it comes down to it with Chris Andrews.
Some of y'all might know this, and some of y'all don't. Let's do it.
So we got it. Of course, Chris Andrews is going to spill some new hip hop tea, and he's talking about Sexy Red. Take it away.
Sexy Red was one of the biggest breakout stars in all of rap last year, and she's proving she won't slow down anytime soon. She's already had a pretty big 2024 so far, giving birth to her second child. The story of her childbirth was spun into a fictionalized version for the visuals of her Drake and SZA collaboration Rich Baby Daddy. The song dropped last year on Drake's For All the Dogs and has been a stable hit in the top 40 of the Hot 100 ever since. But now she's shifting her focus back to releasing her own new music. She got that train started with a teaser she shared to Twitter. She shared a snippet of new music alongside a video that fit the vibe perfectly. The clip she chose is a throwback video of Soulja Boy in 2008. While he's doing some choreography to a different song in the original video, it fits perfectly with the snippet Red shared. The video has already racked up more than 22K likes as fans build up hype for her next release. The track doesn't have a release date yet, but it seems to be on the way very soon. Check out the snippet she shared below. The music video for Rich Baby Daddy has spawned a full month of hilarious back and forth between Drake and Sexy Red online. It started when Red joked that Drake should have to pay her child support. The jokes didn't stop when Drizzy started buying her designer bags and leaning into the joke that their association was starting to get expensive. It's probably paying off in the end though, as the song has more than 260 million streams on Spotify. What do you think of the snippet Sexy Red shared on Twitter?
I think Sexy Red. I think a lot of people like Sexy Red, but I don't. Oh man, I'm gonna sound old, Chris. I'm gonna sound so old. I don't agree with teachers reciting her so much. I don't. Okay, teachers of if you're teaching in high school, okay. But I saw this snippet, and I don't know, it's real, right? It's there. I saw this snippet that these young ladies, these girls, they had to be about 6-7 years old, right? Singing, a Sexy Red song, right? And I'm not a fan of that because now you're getting into the moment to where parents think that this is acceptable. I can't judge too much on it because I'm not a parent. Obviously, I've been saying that many, many times in shows, but I say that because I don't like to parent other people's kids. But I don't agree with this because these 7-8-year-old girls should not be singing a Sexy Red song. They definitely should not be singing Pound Town. Definitely not. But I've seen that happen on social media. I don't go looking for it, but I've seen this happen before. And to the point that they're doing this and they think this is acceptable, you got to think, okay, the parents are not filtering what these young girls are listening to, right? Because I don't know if they don't care. They think it's acceptable. Honestly, if I ever have a daughter, and I won't anytime soon, but if I had a daughter and I find out that she was listening to Pound Town and she started to sing Pound Town, for an example, I don't think I would let her listen to any form of that music anymore until she's of age to understand what that means. I think parents should stop letting their young kids listen to songs like that because it gets endowed in their brains, right? I think parents should be more like parents, right? There's been the whole debate about, TikTok being banned because of young kids. The parent has to watch out to what your kid is watching and listening to. That's a parent issue. That's not a government issue. That's not the company's issue. That's a parent's issue, right? And I say this very loosely because, again, I'm not a parent. But I wouldn't have my kid watching and seeing stuff like that. Then again, it might be a lot of young parents, right? There's a lot of young parents out here in this world. Young parents. So when they're young like that, they don't even know better, right? I wouldn't do it, but hey, I can't tell you how to parent because I'm not a parent, right? So it would be wrong for me to say, but I honestly do think we have to start filtering what kids are watching, at least as well, parents should as parents, right? But hey, I'm not a parent, can't really contest to that. But, you know, I've seen that clip and I was very disturbed. I was very, very disturbed to see, you know, young kids singing a Sexy Red song. But I get that Sexy Red is trying, you know, she's an artist. She's trying to make her money. And I'm not going to knock somebody who's hustling. But you also got to be careful, right? Now, I do have a game review, but I get very excited for this one because All-American, the next season, I'm a huge All-American fan, by the way. I like All-American and All-American Homecoming. Both shows are great. All-American, the first show will be coming back April, I want to say it was April 1st or April 2nd, coming up very soon for the next season on Netflix. Oh, can't wait. Or at least, I think it's Netflix, or it might be coming to CW first and then Netflix. But anyway, I still cannot wait. So, I got to do a game review. This game review was brought to you by, I'm just kidding. No, it's not brought to you by anything, but is brought to you by the Swanky Product One, the new official Swanky accessory book bag from K.L.P Entertainment and yours truly, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas. Link is in the description below. Go ahead and get your pre-order on for your new Swanky accessory bag, the Swanky Product One book bag, red and black with a gold trim on it, coming from Italy. So shout out to them for live shoes. Now, I got to do a game review, and I'm very excited to do this one, right? Yeah, so I got to do a game review. And this is the game that, of course, I played. Shout out to my brother. Because he bought the game. They bought the game for PlayStation 5. And I've said this on the podcast so many times that we are gamers, first off, but we are WWE fans, right? I cannot wait for WrestleMania. I can't wait to see what happens next. I'm a WWE guy by default, by my childhood. So, my brother buys the latest WWE 2K game. That's WWE 2K24. Shout out to 2K and WWE. 2K24. WWE. And I want to give you guys my game review. It's good. It's really good. I can tell when it comes down to, first of all, the showcase, the WrestleMania showcase is amazing. I like how the way that they, you know, you're going through different WrestleManias and you're going through a relive within the two superstars of each WrestleMania, right? And they're using moves and stuff just like the actual show itself. So I think that was a very fantastic idea. Smart idea because WrestleMania 40 is around the corner. Smart idea. I do like the fact that, you know, there are a bunch of creators out there in this world. That way people are creating superstars who may not made the cut in the game, but they're creating these superstars for you to download and you can play with the other person's creation. I think that's smart. That's a cool idea. Fantastic idea. WWE got it on that one. The gameplay mechanics is pretty good. For the most part, it's not so much of, it's almost like button mashing, but not really. There's a lot of controls you got to know to be the best in the game. I've lost. I won a match, but I lost multiple matches. My brother, they've been playing it for a while, so of course they're gonna know how to play. I play with them because I just wanted to see it because I knew I was gonna review it. So it's not so much button mashing. It's not so much of, you know, being too difficult. It's challenging for sure, which I love. I love a game. A game is never fun if it's easy, right? A game is fun when it's challenging. So that part I understand. I feel like 2K gets better every year. I know 2K20 was horrible, right? No one bought it. It was glitchy as all get out. I think 2K does have to fix a lot of more stuff. And I say that very loosely because it wasn't that much of glitching, but I remember we did a match and we did a women's match. I was Bianca Belair and my brother was Maxine Dupree. And they glitched towards the barricade on the far right. So I punched my brother's character, Maxine Dupree, to get him unglitched. Then I got glitched. And then when we got glitched, we glitched into the crowd as if we're fighting in the crowd. And what was interesting, because we could go through the crowd, like through them, like physically through the crowd into an open space in the crowd area. And then the spotlights in the game would come on. And we thought, okay, maybe that's part of the game, right? Because maybe they added to where you can battle in, in the crowd or whatnot. Because why would they put a spotlight right there? That was the case. That was not the case. We tried to get above the barricade back into the ring area and we couldn't. We pressed every button, we just couldn't. So we restarted the match because it was that was a glitch for us. We did a ladders match where we're trying to get the belt using the ladder, and the ladder, bounced all over the place like it was a spider or something. It was glitched, right? It's okay. Well, it's not okay if a game gets glitched because that affects us, the players. I think 2K really should make sure that glitches don't happen in their games, because the glitch did happen to 2K20 and then 2K21 and then a little bit in 2K22, not so much in 23, but then there's a glitch in 24, right? I think 2K should make sure that they slow down and build the game so that way there is no glitches. We're fine. We dealt with the glitches and we continue to play it. But it's never good to have so many glitches in a game, because then you get negative reviews and then you get people talking about you negatively, right? I do like the concept that they try every year and they make the superstars look more realistic to the actual character and the actual people. So I give 2K props for that. The 2K24 commercial was funny. It was interesting. You're in the eyes of your superstar, your wrestler, if you will, and you're going against other superstars. I think that was a very talented commercial. It's good, right? It's really good. I would recommend picking it up. It is at a hefty price, right? You would not believe what my brother told me he paid for it, because he got the all access pass and the seasonal pass and all the other stuff that comes with it. But it's a lot of money, but then you might enjoy it, especially for PlayStation 5. You're going to really enjoy it. I just think that 2K should make sure that they, just slow down when it comes down to building a game, because, this would be the fourth game where you can notice a glitch or two. And like, I remember 2K20 was terrible. 2K20 was horrible. They really lost money points on that one because it glitched all over the place. But now as they get a little older, they're experiencing this thing, and it hasn't been as glitchy. So that's always good. But I think, 2K should slow down. But again, we played it. I had a ball. I had a blast. I lost so many times because my brother, again, they know how to play really well. But I had a blast. It was very, very fun. So if you're into that, I recommend you guys picking that game up for sure. Available right now. Of course, we've got Chris Andrews coming back with the latest in college sports news. Take it away, Chris.
Purdue enters Big Ten tourney, eager for fresh postseason start after last year's painful NCAA loss. For as powerful of a program Purdue has built, the Boilermakers have had a rather tenuous relationship with the postseason. Their last date was as painful as it gets, an ignominious defeat by undersized Farley Dickinson that went down as just the second time in NCAA tournament history a number 1 seed lost in the first round in 152 games against 16th seeds. Every year brings a fresh opportunity, though. This team still has Zach Edey, the 7'4" picture of dominance in the paint, and the bulk of the same core that led the Boilermakers to that lofty perch they were knocked from by FDU. After repeating as the Big Ten regular season champion, third-ranked Purdue begins the conference tournament this week with plenty to prove, starting in the quarterfinals Friday. I just want to win championships. Championships convey something. That's the biggest thing, said Edey, who returned for a fourth year of college to do just that. I think whenever you have the opportunity to win a championship, you want to capitalize on it. Michigan State, 1999 and 2000, is the only team since the Big Ten tournament began in 1998 to win outright regular season and tournament titles in consecutive years. Ohio State won back-to-back conference tournaments as the number 1 seed in 2010 and 2011, but the Buckeyes finished in a three-way tie for first place in the 2009-10 regular season. The Boilermakers are eager to match that feat by the Spartans, who went on to win the national championship in 2000. Cutting down the nets at Target Center in Minneapolis, a first-time host for the Big Ten tournament, would not only put Purdue in position for the number 1 overall seed for the NCAA tournament but give the Boilermakers a boost entering the big dance. "It's new to me, but it's like routine for them," said guard Lance Jones, who transferred from Southern Illinois this season. "We're going to go out there with the right mindset, playing to the best of our abilities and trying to win the championship." Like Purdue, Illinois, Nebraska and Northwestern earned double byes and will enter the bracket in Friday's quarterfinals. Number 5 seed Wisconsin is the only other team that appears safely in the NCAA tournament regardless of results this week, even though the Badgers, who were ranked as high as 6th in the Associated Press Top 25 for the week of January 29, have lost 8 of 11 games. The second-round game Thursday between number 7 seed Iowa and 10th seed Ohio State provides an opportunity for one of those teams to play their way into the field of 68 with a win or 2 or 3. Number 8 seed Michigan State, which has lost 4 of 5 games, sure could use a win over 9th-seeded Minnesota to stay on the safe side of the NCAA tournament bubble. That would set up a meeting in the quarterfinals with Purdue and allow Tom Izzo to coach his 1,000th career game. Izzo is in his 29th season, all at Michigan State. The 5 current Division I coaches with longer tenures all have been at 3 or more schools.
Thank you, Andrew. I always appreciate it. And again, for the K.L.P in the morning, down to this show for sure. I did have to I had to make an announcement before we get to our question. Yeah, Rocco Styles. Shout out to Rocco Styles. Yeah, he is moving on. He is moving on to his own ventures. We wish Rocco Styles the very best. He'll still be popping in and out from time being to help us out with the show. Rocco, he's been doing some amazing stuff business wise, and he's going to be on the more business side of K.L.P Entertainment instead of the voice side of K.L.P Entertainment. So he will be greatly missed for sure. Very, very greatly missed. Good host too. Good co-host. But I get it. Right? It's more money in K.L.P Entertainment on other sides of the spectrum. So hey, I understand. Not upset, but you'll be greatly, greatly missed. So shout out to Rocco Styles for sure. Now, of course, we've got our conversation that was posted in the forum. And the question is, this is an easier one for today. Where did you go to school? Now, we all know that I went to George Gwinnett College for college, right? Shout out to GGC. But, of course, I went to high school. Went to Central Gwinnett High School in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Shout out to them. Always shout out to my Black Knights. I remember, too, because we left private school and we went back to public school. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed public school very much. Shout out to Grayson Tech. Mrs. Anderson now, but I still call her Miss Connors. Favorite teacher of all time. She taught me photography. So shout out to her. But yeah, high school days were interesting. High school was very, very different because it was going from private school to public school, and you really learned a lot of cultures, a lot of colors, a lot of personalities. And I still got my high school end of the year video in my bookshelf at home somewhere. So, I reminisce not from time to time. I don't watch that video a whole lot, but when I go back every 10 years, yeah. So I don't know if I'm going to be back. 2025 will be our 10-year class reunion. I don't know who's putting that together, but I could show up for that. I really would show up for that because, I enjoyed it. Even though we didn't know a whole lot of people in high school, but we knew quite a few people that actually went to TGC right after high school. So it was just like high school all over again, but better. So that's where I went to school. My high school, then I went to Grayson Tech for a technical program. Then I went to GGC for college, and now I'm in National University for my master's degree. So look, quick, easy question there. But that's where I went to school. So you got to give it up to school. You got to be thankful for school because I'm thankful for school. Speaking of being thankful, for sure, this is going to be our sleeper for the podcast as we wrap it up. Erica Campbell, D Smoke. Thank you. Look, gospel for y'all today. Normally I would play R&B and hip hop, but today, technically we gonna play a little gospel.
Every tear we cried, every night, every time, every broken heart.
Thank y'all for staying tuned for the podcast.
This beat is dope.
You want this beat, right?
Thank y'all for staying tuned. We love y'all. Stay tuned later this week. More podcasts to come. I love the drum part. Y'all don't know this, but I love my gospel music, by the way. I don't think y'all know that about me, but I love gospel music.
For all the ups and the spies, they help me see the path clear. Follow Jesus.
This beat is dope.
For the old me to die.
Hey.
No, you thought I was
Giving up? Nope.
Enemy was thinking I was gonna
Run. Hey. And in the towel? Nope.
But you'll be disappointed, cause I'm still anointed, and I'll be bold. My head still bow, and my hands
Still raised. Y'all have a good Wednesday, man. It's hump day. We got to be thankful and grateful to be living. Thankful for the loved ones that are still here with us. I'm so thankful.
This beat is dope.
D Smoke.
For the years I would pray it be like this here.
Like this here.
Dark times I would say I was like boy here.
Like boy here.
But the media when it's out, when it's blowing cold. The media out with the gap when the storm blow. I went as far as I can go, then I learned.
Hey. All right, we gonna roll out of here, man. Stay tuned tomorrow. K.L.P in the morning radio show, audio version of the podcast tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, as we get ready for a great weekend. It's been beautiful today too. Take advantage, but first of all, take advantage of the sunshine because it's been very, very pretty outside. Sunshine, clear skies the last few days. So take advantage of that, y'all. And we out of here. Thank y'all.
What's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P Entertainment and K.L.P Studios. It's K.L.P Aftermath. Morning with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas and Rocco Styles.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go.